Hello, I'm Amber Amethyst, and today I'm doing something different on this channel. I will be talking about all the Lolita boards that I have made in 2017. So I first started sewing in 2015. I sewed my first ever actually full complete dress was this ugly Tudor dress. It's just absolutely horrendous, especially in comparison to the one that I made this year. So I've actually been interested in Lolita fashion for years due to the fact that it was incredibly difficult to find Lolita fashion here in the US unless you either ordered online, which at the time I didn't, well, even now I don't really make a lot of money, and for the most part a lot of places don't really cater to larger sizes, so I pretty much had no choice but to make my own or go to thrift stores and pretty much alter what I found there. And so I've been sewing for like 2.5 years now, and this year I've actually sewn a lot more. My first ever Lolita dress that I ever made was back in 2015. For Halloween I went as a broken porcelain doll, and I really wanted to do this cute Lolita dress with it. And so this is it. This was the first one that I've ever made. And it is pretty poor quality, I think. At the time, I was so proud of this dress because it was the third thing I've ever made. That horrible Tudor dress that no longer exists. And then I did a Renaissance dress about 2 months later, and I was actually pretty pleased with how that one turned out. Unintentionally very Rapunzel-like. And then I did this one for Halloween. The sleeves are obviously not pretty well done. I can't, disclaimer, I don't do sleeves well at all. So if I don't have to do sleeves, that'd be great. So a lot of the dresses that I make don't have sleeves because I'm just not good at doing sleeves. So I pretty much put them over blouses, like puffy sleeves, or really long pretty sleeves, or lacy sleeves, because sleeves are, as you can tell, are not my best. So I made this out of some fabric I got at Walmart, and this was actually just an accent color. It actually matched the underlayer, which I didn't bring with me, but there was actually another layer it was pretty much was the same color that was ruffled up where this hem ended. That was where the next ruffle would go, and so it gave it a little more of a poof. I don't wear this dress very often because it is so over the top, but this is my first one. I made it out of, actually, this pattern. For most of my dresses, my skirts, this is the pattern that I often used for like the first 2 years. This was my main go-to when it came to doing Lolita style clothing. And these packages are empty because if you've ever sewn, once you take all the patterns out, it's hard to get them back in the original packaging. If you actually know how to do that without ironing, please let me know in the comments, because that would be very helpful. Because for the most part, when I'm finished the pattern, I just put them in a plastic bag, and along with its cover and writing down pretty much just a quick description of what the pattern is. The reason we're doing this in the video is in the kitchen. I didn't want to do it in front of a closet because my closet is kind of junky right now, and my clothing rack actually broke 2 weeks ago. That I would usually hang my in-progress outfits or things that I'm wearing to an upcoming event on. I would hang them on that, but it broke, so I have to go get me a new one, a sturdier one, because that one was very cheap. And so that's why they're hanging up here for right now. And we compare the first ever one to my most recent. And this is the one that I have finished earlier this morning, as far as, because this video won't be uploaded for a few more days, so as of December 31st, 2017, this is my most recent dress. This is mint green dress that I just finished today. I was going to add like a second and even a third layer of lace, but I kind of like how it turned out. It's based on this dress that I saw at a thrift store, and it clearly was not in my size, but I absolutely loved it, and I said I want to remake that dress. And so I did as best I could. I mean, obviously that one had a lot more layers. Like I had had 3 layers as opposed to my one. But I actually think it looks pretty well with just one. If I do change my mind, I could always add more. But as of now, I'm going to keep them as it. This one is my most recent jumper skirt that I've done. It is made it from this pattern, which is actually now my new go-to for Lolita skirts and jumper skirts. So I'm going to use this one because this one's actually a lot closer to the look I'm going for as the earlier one. So that's what I used to make this one. So all my more recent skirts and JSKs were made from this pattern. So I guess one's finished today. I actually have another one. Pretty much, I'm almost ready to start immediately. Maybe not tonight, but tomorrow, a pink one. Also, I'm using that pattern for. So this is my most recent. This one is the first ever JSK that I made using this pattern. I found this really cute fabric at Joann's, and when I saw it, I said, I've got to make something Lolita with that fabric because it's just so cute. It's so pastel-y, and I really like it. I ended up calling it, when I posted the dress on my Facebook page and on my DeviantArt page, I ended up calling it the Periwinkle Bouquet JSK because it's periwinkle and it has a bunch of little cute little purple bouquets. And these are like two of my favorite colors here. I got this little cute lace that's white on top and purple on the bottom. And so this was the first one I ever did. It looks kind of a wreck in the back. You can't really tell, but if you look inside, you can definitely see where I did not know what to do with this bag because I followed the pattern exactly. The bag ended up just hanging off, like at the top, just hanging off, and it looked absolutely terrible. So I ended up having to like just dart it about 7 times to get it to fit properly. I actually need to go in and re-stitch this area because it is starting to fray because my hem work clearly was not very good on this one. But this was the first jumper skirt that I made using that pattern. This one's actually one of my most frequently worn outfits. I usually pair it with this blouse I have. It has like, I think it's like 5 ruffles going up the chest, and it's really cute. And I was so happy when I finished this. This is the one I made for Easter. Actually went completely different. I wanted to do this top. It's basically these little dresses that I wore when I was younger, and I really did like it. I saw this fabric, I was like, that would be so cute for an Easter dress. Again, the purples and blues and a little bit of green, pretty much my favorite colors to use. And I found this pattern at Joann's. This was like a $3 pattern, so I used this one mainly because it had this type of collar right there that I was looking for to do this kind of dress. Because a lot of the dresses I would find, like the patterns I would find, didn't have this kind of collar. And like at the time they had this pattern of collars, but they were not quite large enough for what I was trying to do. I wanted one like this, and I happened to see that pattern. I was like, this is what I was going to go. So this one's actually different, very different style than all of my other, and it's actually so far is the only one I've done using this pattern. But I really like how it turned out. I like how the bow, I did 3 buttons down the side, and I had a trim of lace, and I really did like those. It looks very elegant. Put it off with the white already made ruffles. Why? Because ruffling takes forever. And so if I can use the already made ones they sell at Joann's, that saves me a lot of time. I was actually really happy with how this one turned out. I actually wear this one a lot. Actually, funny story with this dress. I wore it to, one time I wore it out when I was going to Joann's to get something. And the cashier said, hey, did you get that? Did you make that? Because I think we had that fabric here. And I was like, yes, I made this for Easter. And this was like 3 months later. And so she actually recognized the fabric, and it was quite funny. This one, this one is not really a favorite of mine, to be honest. It was a pain to make. I actually designed this dress entirely based on this art that I drew. It was on Gravity Falls Amino. You were pretty much supposed to draw yourself as a cipher if you were a cipher. And this is the art. And so and it looked really pretty on paper, but unfortunately when you try to translate, sometimes you try to translate something from paper to reality, sometimes it turns out well. I love my Bill Cipher ball gown costume. And sometimes it doesn't so much. And this one was because I didn't really know what to do with the bottom. So I actually did one using, like I said, before, it was August, this was my go-to pattern for pretty much all things. So the first top actually is pretty much this pattern skirt, and the bottom was me trying my best to get it to fit. And then I put the lace on top of it, and I have, this one's like a 2-layer lace, and this one's like 3-layer black lace. I end up using pretty much like a sailor type collar. And this bow, actually was not the original bow I used. The original bow I used, I had to take it off. It just was so terrible. It was so poorly done. I don't know what I was thinking when I made it, because it was just, one side was longer than the other. No matter how many times I would cut the bow, one side would somehow always end up longer than the other. So I took it off and I put this one on. It's smaller, but I think it actually works better overall. I think I wore this one a total of 3 times so far. Said it's not really a favorite, but I actually wore it to the mall one time, and I wore it into FYE, and I got some compliments by this couple, and they thought it was a cosplay at first, and I said, oh, it's not a cosplay. I said, well, it's an amazing dress, and they complimented. They were just like, I didn't feel so good about it, even though it's not one of my favorites. This one was more of an experimental, and yeah, I like the color scheme of it. I usually wear it with like magenta. A magenta blouse. The sleeves are magenta to fit better with that original design, but it was the best I could do. Oh boy, this one. So, actually, I wanted to make this dress last year. I really wanted to make a candy corn dress, but I couldn't find this fabric last year. But this year it was. They had one at Joann's, but I ended up getting the one at Walmart because it was cheaper. And I actually like the fact that the candy corns were a little bit larger. And I also usually wear it with a black blouse. So it's very candy corn in its color scheme. See, I've got like the orange for like the midsection, and then I got the yellow ruffles at the bottom to like pretty much the way a candy corn design is. And I was actually originally thinking about doing this white bow just to give it the candy corn flair, but I actually already bought this year in Amazement. One of the 2 wig vendors had a whole bunch of handmade bows, and one of them wore candy corn, so I often wear it with that. Unfortunately, I have not gotten any official pictures with this. I wore it for, this is going to be my Halloween day dress, but it ended up not being for some reason. I think it was too cold that day or something. And I ended up wearing it for fall pictures, but unfortunately the only pictures I have with this, I don't have any full body pictures, was a headshot picture and a picture with my class, which neither one of those I can really post, because the headshot picture doesn't give very good. Pretty much only comes about right here. And the picture with my class I cannot post online. Then end up having to take the fall decorations down, so I never really got a chance to take a cute fall picture with this dress. But next year I do plan to. And so that's this one. It's probably, this one's actually not, some people might not even consider this to really be Lolita, even though it is in the same style. Again, using the same pattern. So I didn't really use a Lolita pattern for it. I call it a candy corn Lolita dress, but some people might disagree, saying that the color schemes or the pattern doesn't really fit Lolita very much. I actually went to a convenience store to get a monster on my break the day of picture day, and the guy asked me, "Are you a candy cane witch?" And I was like, "No, it's picture day." Like, I just wanted to wear something cute and festive to fit fall. Alright, and I got one more until we move on to the actual skirts. This one was my second JSK I made using this pattern. I made this for, my friend and I were going on a ghost tour downtown, and so I wanted something cute to wear, and thinking I could do Victorian, but I don't have time to make Victorian. I've done Victorian twice already. I did a Victorian skirt for Christmas last year in 2016, and I did a full Victorian dress for my birthday. They take forever. And I was actually wanting to do, like, usually most times I've done like an 1860s type Victorian dress. And for this one, I was going to do more of the bustle dress, like the 1870s, 1880s. But I did not have time. I pretty much had a week to do this. It actually was my second try. The first try, I had put it in, like I like to dry my fabric so I get all the wrinkles out. And unfortunately there was a rug in the dryer and it got a whole bunch of this rug hair on it. And I tried washing it 3 times and the rug hair would not come out, so I'm having to scrap that. And the ruffling, actually, because I couldn't find any already made black ruffles. So I tried ruffling myself and it's not a good idea. This one I actually just used lace on. So this was done in the course of 2.5 days. I'm actually pretty pleased with how it turned out. Using lace took a lot less time than ruffles. I still used ruffles up here. And then I added 2 bows. I have these 2 bows to the center. As I've seen in a lot of other dresses. Actually, when I do my pink jumper skirt, I'm actually going to do the same thing, only with pink bows. And then I made this little rectangular headdress. Oops, it's a little bent. I'll have to throw it in the dryer. I made this rectangular headdress to go with it, based on this pattern. This actually took me no time at all. Like basically it was just hemming around the edges and adding on the ruffles, the same ruffles I used for here, and then putting on the string so I could match it. And I wore this out, and I absolutely loved it. The only problem was it was like super cold that night, and instead of having to wear a jacket over my blouse, so you couldn't see any sleeves, except from that one picture that I took. I was like, forget the fact that I might get hypothermia. I want a picture in my outfit. And so this one, actually, I'm really proud of this one. I love this one so much. This jumper skirt so much. I can't wait to wear it more often because I really do like this one. And I know that these rectangular headdresses are, apparently they're, when I was researching, I read that they were pretty much kind of out of style now, but I personally like them. I think they're really cute. And so I wanted to make one to go with it, and I actually do like the way they look with this. So now onto a couple of skirts, and for these, I have a couple patterns, like for the most part, I think it was August, I'm pretty sure it was August, might have been July, when this pattern was at Joann's. As I got this one, for the most part, this one is what I use for. I actually have quite a few patterns I use. There's this one I just got recently. I have not used it yet because they didn't have one in my size. The farthest up it goes is 16, but I am intending this year to at least get down to a size 16, and so I haven't used it yet. I do like that. That's super cute. And this was actually the first one I ever got. The first ever Lolita pattern I ever bought was this one. When I saw this, like my eyes grew so wide, and I just fell in love with it. I love both these dresses so much. Like you asked me which one I prefer, I can't even tell you because I love them so much. But I've actually only ever used this pattern one time, and it wasn't even for Lolita. It was for a niece of mine, Miss Lolita cosplay for Handmade back in 2016. I used the bodice and the sleeves of this pattern for that. I ended up using the skirt. I ended up using an entirely different pattern. I don't have that one with me, but it was pretty much just like a 2 and 3 tiered skirt that I used for that one. And I actually hand ruffled all of that, and it took so long. And that was before I knew they actually sold ruffles in the fabric stores. I have this one too. I actually only used this once for one of these skirts. And the only time I ever used this one, I bought it because I love Sion's ball gown. And I want to make it, even though I could probably buy it online for much cheaper than I can make myself. I only ever used that pattern once for my Star Butterfly costume. Then I have a pattern for Lolita blouses. I bought this 10 years ago, I think. 8 or 10 years ago. I'm not good at blouses. I've tried making blouses. I don't know if it's the sizing. My sizing's wrong, my measurements are wrong. What it is I'm doing wrong, but it always ends up looking very tacky when I make blouses. So I prefer to just buy blouses and make everything else. But this one is actually, this was my grandmother's. She gave it to me. It actually was this one right here that I used to make this skirt. I didn't use the giant ruffle because I ended up using some already made ruffles. These white ruffles are like my favorite thing ever. Every time I go to Joann's, I get so many of them because I use them so often. But I also got this fabric at Joann's, and I saw the fabric. I said I want to make a little skirt with it. It looked like it'd be a perfect little It'd be a perfect little fabric to make with it, the cute little rose pattern it has on it. And so I used it. And so I haven't made another skirt with that pattern yet, but I'm actually pleased with how it turned out. It's actually one of my longer skirts. I've worn it to church a few times. I've gotten compliments on it. It's really classy and cute, and I like it. This is my most recent skirt. It's my Christmas skirt. I found this fabric at Joann's. I think it was in March or April, and I was like, I'm gonna make my Christmas dress this year with it. Talk about planning ahead. And originally I was going to make it a jumper skirt until I put the waistband on. Because then first I was going to make the whole jumper skirt out of this fabric, but then I decided when I put the waistband on, I said, I actually might just do the rest of it in this mint green fabric, which is actually the same fabric I used for that mint green jumper skirt I showed earlier. However, when I put the waistband on, I was looking at it, and then I put the bow, I hadn't sewed it on yet, I just put it on top of it, and I had the ruffles. They weren't sewn on either. These are actually beige ruffles. These aren't made ruffles. These are the white ones, these are the beige ones, which I felt went better with the overall color scheme. And then I posted on Facebook, I said opinions. You think I should turn to a full jumper skirt, or should I keep it as a regular skirt? Everyone was unanimous that it should stay as a regular skirt. I also actually liked how it turned out. Clearly I can only really wear this at Christmas time, so I might wear it again next Christmas Eve. I'll probably do something else entirely for Christmas. And this was actually the first skirt, like actual full skirt I used. I made using this pattern. So now this is my go-to for everything. Actually, I've not even worn this one yet. I really need to. This is like my most laciest one that I've done yet. I don't know why I haven't worn it yet. I think I was waiting to get a nice blouse to work with it, and I think I finally did. And so this one has like 1, 2, 3, 4, about 4 just different layers of lace. Is that 4 or is that 5? No, 4. So I have like 4 sets of lace on this one, and it is super cute. I love it. And again, use this pattern for it, and I just really like it. Really cute. I have this big white bow on it. I think I'm gonna wear it with a white blouse. I think I was looking for one in pink, but I think white would go better with it just because it would accent off the white lace. So I made this one like very early this year, like January, February. Like, it was very, very early, and I have not had a chance to wear it yet. But I definitely do intend to wear this year. And lastly, I made 2 cupcake skirts this year. This is the first one I made. I think I made this one spring. Can't exactly remember when it was, but I actually bought this fabric for an apron. I had some left over, so I made a cute little skirt to go with it. It's very cute and sparkly and sweet. Get it? Cupcake? Sweet. Haha. And actually this is a different type of ruffle I have on here, another one I got at Joann's, and I really think this one fits this tone because it reminded me a lot of the papers that are on cupcakes. Just how it's folded. I think it fits it really well, and I've worn this one a few times. I usually wear it with a white blouse. My students at work absolutely just love it. They think it's so cute. They love the cupcakes on it. I personally love cupcakes, and obviously you can look at my YouTube logo. I love cupcakes, and so this one just really just fit me overall. Just fit my personality, just fit everything about me, so I absolutely love it. And lastly is this one. So I found another cupcake fabric when I was at Joann's, and I really like this one as well. It's not as fancy as the other cupcakes, but They all look cute. It has a lot of different colors on it, and I actually put it with a darker pink. I don't think it's a color you see very often in Lolita fashion, but I had like all this. I think it fit pretty well because of the pink flowers we have here, and I think it just really accents so well. I had all this fabric left over from my Star Butterfly cosplays, and thought I would use it for this. And I also put these ruffles. They weren't exactly the right color, but I think they fit pretty well. Same style as the ones I used on my black GSK and on the candy corn dress. And actually, I had some left over, so I made this headband to actually go with this skirt. Actually, this shirt also. I bought this shirt to go with it, and I put on this bow. Found it at Walmart, and I put it on. I sewed it onto here, and so I coordinate this shirt and this headband to go with this skirt. Super glued these extra ruffles I had left over onto a hot pink headband. So it goes with this. And just like my other cupcake skirt, my students at work absolutely love this one. I've only worn it once so far. And actually, this is the only thing I've made so far with this pattern. It has like the underlayer, and then it has the top layer. Only I don't think I didn't do exactly the way it said, because I wanted to like cut out, so I actually just cut on the fold instead of cutting out all these different pieces, and it turned out to be like that. And so those were all of the Lolita style clothing that I have made this year in 2017, beginning in January and ending on today, December 31st, 2017. So also including in the fact that I did a couple of historical costumes, such as the Victorian dress I made for my birthday and the Tudor dress I made for the Carolina Renaissance Festival this year, and a whole ton of cosplays that I've done as well. I also made some pillows for my niece and nephew. Actually, I used for my niece, used the same exact fabric that was on that second cupcake skirt, because I had like a whole lot left over, because I always overestimate how many I need, but I've learned the hard way that it's better to have too much than too little. But you can always do extra things with the extra, like make bows, for instance, or make cute little pillows. And I'm going to continue to make a lot more this year and 2018. And I thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.